What's poppin', yo? This Rick Ross situation has kind of been over for a while. I was waiting for any developments from the other side. In the case of Icarus Wolfhouse, the guy that's a rapper, the guy that socked Rick Ross at that event in Vancouver, Canada. Well, we didn't get anything, so I just decided to put a little gift wrap and a bow on this thing and then send it off into history for something that we don't pay attention to again until some other situation happens with Rick Ross. But Rick Ross took a while before he gave his final response, which was illustrating how the entire situation panned out from his eyes, which wasn't too different from what we saw. So I'll play that clip right now.
Hey man, I'm thinking about the event that happened over there. Let me tell you something. When the first dude stepped up to Rose, the little short fat one that looked like Bam Bam Bigelow from wrestling, when he stepped up, and then I squat down in his eyes and told him what I said. Basically, boy, if I hit you, I'm going to see everything you ate for the last 2 days. His balls dropped out of his ass. He never said another word. He never did nothing. He was a straight buster. Then the nigga behind him said, I know MMA. And then I got hit with a drink. I'm still convinced ain't no nigga punched me. Somebody said, Rose, the nigga tried to punch you. He hit you. I say, nah. He had to throw a drink, because throwing a drink would have been way more disrespectful than screaming, I know MMA! Man.
So as you hear, Rick Ross paints it in a not so different light. He just says that the guy says something that I don't believe he said. We heard the guy say, oh, we can bang out right now. He didn't say, oh, I know MMA or something like that. Someone else might have said it about him. But these guys got down to business. And this is a lesson. This is a lesson for a lot of people in America. All these street people in America, they jack somebody's chain. They beat somebody up. They got to go on social media and say, yo, that was me. Yeah, we put hands on Rick Ross. F Rick Ross, this and that. These guys put hands on Rick Ross and his team. I think they even got the chain, I don't know, from Rick Ross's DJ, and they were silent. Canada must be maybe 10 plus years behind the U.S. because they're really following the real G's move in silence like lasagna thing. And these guys are not trying to pretend to be the toughest guys. They handled their situation. They move past it. They don't see the need to get clout from it, possibly because they don't want any legal repercussions. But there were so many cameras and witnesses. I don't see that happening. But who knows? This is Canada. I don't know all the rules over there, especially on the other side in BC, British Columbia. But I did more digging, and the first thought that came to my mind was how happy DJ Vlad must be from this situation. Because when we look at Rick Ross, do a lot of us look at him as the biggest boss in terms of like gangster? Maybe if you grew up listening to Rick Ross, but the majority of us probably saw it as, okay, Rick Ross, he matured and he was rolling around with people that were putting in work for him, as they did on DJ Vlad years ago. And now Rick Ross is just a funny guy. He's a comedic guy. He has some elements of motivation. He's a character in a similar way that DJ Khaled plays a character. And that character is for entertainment. It's for promotion for his product. You get a quote here and there. You get a funny moment here and there, whether it's with his animals, his farm animals, his home, his car show, a multitude of many different things. So for this event, it doesn't sound too crazy. I don't think it stains Rick Ross too much because he's still not playing the music game like a lot of people. For example, if this happened to Meek Mill and Meek Mill's trying to drop music, it's not looking too hot for Meek Mill. But Rick Ross, his music isn't really about being tough. It's mostly about money, luxury. So I don't think this will affect Rick Ross very much. I think it's something that we forget about quickly. Also, in part because he only got hit once, which is, I know that hit had him seeing stars. But if Rick Ross was getting ragdolled around like his 7'2" bodyguard, it would not have been great for Rick Ross. It would have looked crazy on Rick Ross. Now, thankfully, that didn't happen to Rick Ross, at least. But circling back to the DJ Vlad situation, for some of you that aren't familiar, Vlad filed a lawsuit on Rick Ross many, many years ago, and he got a payout for it, which was that Rick Ross and his people pulled up on Vlad in, I think it wasn't a hotel lobby. I think it was on a hotel floor, and Rick Ross just had his people beat the brakes off of Vlad. And this was due to, I believe, Vlad just posting or reporting news. Vlad didn't say anything crazy about Rick Ross, if I recall correctly. He had just posted the video that 50 Cent was putting out, calling him Officer Ricky. So he was doing his job. Rick Ross sent these people after him, and then he sued Rick Ross, ended up winning, getting a settlement. I think it was a couple $100,000. He doesn't say exactly. After that is when Vlad started really upping his security. I think he said this in interviews before. And he doesn't talk about it too much. Vlad doesn't gloat about that situation. He doesn't talk about that case too much. He just keeps it pushing. However, I know for a fact, and I just imagine the picturesque moment, right? Imagine you're a security camera that's looking in Vlad's living room or his office. No weird stuff. And he opens his phone and he sees the video of Rick Ross. I just imagine that he fell back on his couch and just started kicking his feet up in the air, dying of laughter. And this is why I can't really feel bad for Rick Ross for a moment like this, because Vlad was, in his case, just reporting. He was doing his job. He was reporting something that was already put out there and popular, and Rick Ross decided to put hands on him or have people put hands on him, which is insane. Vlad had nothing to do with that situation. He didn't have a poor relationship with Vlad from what I had seen. So he wanted to take things into his own hands like that because he felt disrespected, which, can we even say that's being disrespected? Yet, Rick Ross goes to Canada, Vancouver, Canada, is playing the Not Like Us song, and he's also saying a couple of other things that made people in Vancouver feel disrespected, and they approached him about it, and then he, for lack of a better word, spit in their face saying no and kept antagonizing them until they put hands on him and his team. So which scale do you think someone deserves what they got more, Rick Ross or Vlad? I would say Rick Ross deserved it far more, especially for what he had been known to do in his history to someone like Vlad. And this is coming from me, somebody who absolutely loves Rick Ross's music. Rick Ross has some amazing music. And this is where people in the comments be getting into, yo, you're actually saying Rick Ross is a good rapper? You're not? The hell is wrong with you? You've got the problem if you're saying Rick Ross is a whack rapper, can't rap, hasn't ever made good music. You need to get your ears checked. You've got a problem. The best rappers in the game, Lil Wayne, Drake, all these other people were saying, yo, this guy's got one of the nicest pens in the game. He's a really great rapper. So maybe they're all just wrong, or maybe you think Lil Wayne and Drake are trash rappers too. And in that case, I'm going to need you to sit down in one of those silent rooms that nobody can hear outside of, because that's where your opinion belongs. Talking about Lil Wayne, a trash rapper, or Rick Ross, a trash rapper. What are we doing here? You can say you don't enjoy the guy's music. That's a completely different story. Like, for example, some people may not enjoy Kendrick Lamar's music. But for them to say Kendrick Lamar's a whack rapper or he's not a good rapper, I don't think Kendrick Lamar's a good example. Let's say Ab-Soul, right? People are saying, man, Ab-Soul's a whack rapper. Please. Come on now. It's elite rapping. Doesn't get too much better than that. But there are a bunch of people that have a case when they say, I don't really enjoy his music too much. And that's a different conversation. But for Rick Ross, let's just hope he doesn't continue disrespecting people. Let's hope that he potentially learned his lesson. And it's not a lesson to be meek or timid, but it is a lesson in, hey, not everyone's just going to take disrespect wherever you go and be cool with it. And that's an important lesson. You wouldn't want people out there in Miami dissing on Miami artists, and Rick Ross would feel proud if Drake came to Miami and someone from Drake's team, after disrespecting, let's say they directly disrespected Rick Ross, someone got hands put on them. He would say, yeah, that's Miami. You're not going to come disrespect this city and get away with it. So shout out to them boys in Vancouver, Canada, holding down their city. And I look forward to more entertainment from Rick Ross. I wouldn't say I'm necessarily looking forward to music. I've got enough music from Rick Ross. That's not to say I don't want any new music. It's just there are certain people who I've got the catalog. I'm going to be listening to it for the rest of my life. So I'm really not anticipating you dropping anything new. But let me know what you guys think in the comments. Like and subscribe and hit the notification bell if you enjoyed. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram. Thank you for watching. Peace.